Dear friends, it's my pleasure and privilege to be at this very well organized event. And we have three important partners at this second edition. We have the Economic Times, we have the Samunnati, and the two are ably supported by the Grand Thornton as the knowledge partner. And all of these three people bring particular strengths to the subject of agriculture, to the subject of economy, and more particularly to the issues of farmers' welfare. The participants at this important event would also be contributing immensely to understanding of the structure, nature, and the need of the farmers producers organizations. I'm aware that very well-known, experienced, and expert resources have been invited to speak along with me. So anyway, it's my privilege to be part of this whole process. All of us are aware today that the government and the country at large are committed to the welfare of India's farmers. And when we talk about welfare of the farmers, it means to strengthen their income levels. But after all, it is the income levels that determine the purchasing power, their ability to save and plow back the surpluses into new technology, into new business management principles and other forms of investment required in an enterprise. Talking about enterprise, today India is committed to transforming the subsistence economy of agriculture into an enterprise and the farmers as entrepreneurs. When we would like to now have an agribusiness model, it is very critical that we adopt the basic principles of profit centricity, and that entails the need for achieving high volumes of production based on productivity and good resource use efficiency, and simultaneously monetizing all the produce that the farmers generate, particularly with reference to the marketable surplus ratios. If these three are required, then naturally what we will require or what the agriculture sector would need are the technology that is continuously being upgraded. They would also need to invest in agri-logistics and other forms of backward and forward linkages, and then upgrade themselves in terms of their knowledge, in terms of their innovativeness to managing their agriculture as an enterprise. However, one of the constraints that Indian farmers face largely in this regard is the small size of the farms. Our farm sizes are small and marginal, and this problem is compounded by the fact that the land parcels are fragmented. With this kind of land division and fragmentations, the operational scales that are required to adopt new technology, new capital, and new kind of investment at cost efficiency becomes a very difficult proposition. Hence, we need to go in for mobilizing the farmers into producers organization, as has happened in several other countries, and just as India itself has tried this over the last few decades. The advantages of having a producers organization of the farmers is that we will be able to achieve a higher efficiency at both input and output management levels. We would be able to integrate the farm produce into the market in a more effective manner. As we all know, farmer and the farm gate constitute the starting point of any supply chain. And if we want an efficient supply chain to the advantage of the farmers as well as the consumers, it is important that the farmers are imparted what is called the bargaining power. Unless we are able to impart that bargaining power to the farmers at the farm gate level, they would not be able to achieve a higher ratio of the share in the consumer's rupee. When we are able to mobilize the farmers into producers organization, we will be helping them to achieve efficiency at the production stage at the post-production stage and simultaneously also enable them to negotiate the risks that are very common with agriculture, which is both biologically dependent at the production stage and, of course, is subject to the market fluctuations at the post-production stage. And simultaneously, let's also remember that the producers' organizations of the farmers in the agriculture sector are required not just for the sake of farmers, they're also required for the sake of consumers and also the downstream operators. In fact, organizing farmers into producers' organization is a win-win situation. While the farmers obviously, as we said, will benefit from higher incomes, higher profit centricity, but the consumers are expected to also benefit because they will have a short supply chain directly linked to the farm gates and therefore get at a more rational rate. And simultaneously, they may also get the produce that they want in the case of, which means a differentiated product, which is safe, secure, and healthy. Now, for the downstream operators who are few in number, are also going to stand to benefit because they will have lesser number of transactions to do. Instead of having to contact every single farmer in the country, they will be now contacting the farmer producers organization, which will say that this is the specification, this is the demand I have. And then I think it becomes easier for the producers organization to also meet the changing or dynamic situation of the demand in terms of quantity as well as quality. If these are the strengths of the producers organization, in India, in Indian context, how do we go about it? Let us remember that Indian farmers are large in number. We today have nearly 1.2 crore or 120 million number of farm households. And these households, which are spread across the length and breadth of the country, need to be put together. The experience so far shows that it is a mixed bag. We have had large number of successes, which are outstanding examples across the country, and simultaneously there are also many failures. And what we are now looking forward to, with the kind of vision and commitment that the nation has got to translate all the farmer individually into the collectives, then we should be able to enhance and demonstrate the possible success, the potential success that is innately in the producers' organizations. We can draw examples from the other countries. Let me give you the example of European Union. European Union has been experimenting with the producers' organizations in 1991. And today, on an average, there are 254 number of producers' organizations for every 1 million household there. And the learning is that not only are the producers able to gain much better incomes compared to themselves in the past, as well as compared to the other farmers who are not members of the producers organization. Simultaneously, it is also seen that the markets and the consumers in the market are able to get better produce. And in addition to the incomes that are generated, the spin-off effect has been what is called as social capital. Since now the farmers constitute the membership of the producers organization, there's greater community orientation, and therefore much needed the social homogeneity or community participation, community living also has been an advantage. So I think in India too, we can actually learn from this. One of the things that I would like to suggest is that if we are looking at transforming agriculture to agricultural enterprise, each of these producers organization must be looked at as an enterprise. And under the MSME Act, where we have got what are called micro enterprises as well as small and medium enterprises, we need to now have a threshold based on the volume of turnover per annum, and then categorize them as micro, small, and medium enterprises and offer them all the support that is available to the industries outside the agriculture sector so that they are able to get integrated with the national market as well as the export market in a much more meaningful manner. Now, going forward, based on the experience so far, we are aware that the success has come wherever there has been a clarity, the purpose, objectives of organizing a set of farmers. Then there is a clarity, and also there is what is called an internal champion. So now moving forward, under the guidelines that the Ministry of Agriculture has issued, and the support that has been promised under the Agricultural Infrastructure Fund, under the umbrella Atmanirbhar Bharat package for agriculture, we can all be very confident today that we are looking at an ecosystem. The ecosystem consists of, first, enabling the national organizations like the NABARD, the Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortium, as also the NCDC, to serve the larger purpose at the national level and handhold different organizations at the field level to actually mobilize farmers. When we do this thing, they would be required to be capacitated, and therefore, Government of India through the Ministry of Agriculture is very clear that there will be two institutions in the country which shall take the bottom line responsibility of strengthening the knowledge base of these organizations. So when we spend a lot of time today in preparing our organizations who are going to handle the producers organizations, I think we would be making a good beginning. And going forward, another important thing why success comes or why it does not come lies in organizing the people and revolving them around a common objectives. So we need to bring the farmers around a common interest and build what is called a horizontal cooperation. Because producers organization primarily is the organization of the farmers, controlled by the farmers with certain specified objectives, and that is brought about through what is called a horizontal cooperation. It is a horizontal cooperation of the farmers that leads to vertical integration of the agricultural value chain. Hence, now we will require capital infusement. So an organization like Samunnati, for example, various other kinds of financial institutions, the venture capital organizations, angel investors can all look forward to an opportunity of infusing capital into a well-organized farmers producers organization. So when you have a well-designed and very robust business plan with clear objectives and around commodities that are very clearly defined, then we would be able to infuse required technology into production, require business management principle to post-production, and then enable the farmers to link with the agriculture markets. Now, given the new context, where we have alternate channels of marketing, both APMC based as well as direct trade based under the new farm laws, we would have options for the farmer producers organizations to actually weigh the pros and cons of different opportunities and then go where the best services at the best prices are made available to the farmers. And another strength that the producers organization obviously bring would be to enhance the value of the produce generated. And the produce generated is not only the primary produce, but also the byproducts and also what is today called the waste. For example, the straw or the cotton stalk or other kinds of animal products which are not being utilized properly. So a producers organizations with its ability to invest more in terms of capital and technology would be able to actually set up more processing facilities and add value to what is going waste today. So in result, when we convert this producers organization into an enterprise, it could be a micro enterprise, it could be a small scale or a medium scale, they would be able to set up larger number of processing facilities and also build agri-logistics and then train their own people and then make demands on the farmers to produce particular specification oriented produce, and therefore it gets market oriented. So let me close up by saying that we are looking to an opportunity where India shall establish large number of producers organizations and enable infusion of capital and technology in modern business management principles. So how many number of producers organizations do we require in the country is the question. Now, all of us know that government under the Atmanirbhar Bharat has committed itself to 10,000 FPOs by 2024. By now, we have around 6,700, which have been floated by SFAC, by NABARD, and also by independent by independent entrepreneurs or key champions in the country. So when we now look at these 10,000, we should be aiming at making them successful so that they become demonstrable organizations. But according to me, we will require at least 30,000 producers organizations by the year 2030. The reason being, if we now take the measure in European Union, the benchmark in European Union, where they have 254 for 1 million farm households, where the farm size is much larger than what we have in India, we at that particular rate would need at least 30,000 or 31,000 number of producers organization. But the current guidelines suggest that we should have one producers organization for every 1,000 hectares. If you go by this scale, then for 141 million hectares of arable land that we have, we will require nearly 1,41,000 number of producers organization. Now, that may be a very tall order. Apart from the farming, we also have animal husbandry, we got dairy and poultry and other kinds of activities. So they too would require a large number of producers organizations. So I would suggest that we can enhance the number of producers per producers organization, because the new technology that is available would make it possible for us to integrate the more sporadically distributed producers and the farms. And therefore, we should be aiming at about 30,000 producers organizations by the year 2030, the year when we also committed to sustainable development goals. And since producers organizations are meant to improve the incomes of the farmers and simultaneously improve the nutritive value of the produce that the farmers generate, and also take care of the ecology as a part of the climate change commitment that India has made, I think we should be aiming at 30,000 producers organization. If this is to be done, I think we need to focus more on the soft components, where we are able to identify people, the farmers, and particularly the youngsters, to anchor around this producers organization as an enterprise. And we should be taking the farmers to successful organizations that already are dot the space of this country and also outside the country, and then make it very, very clear that while the ownership of the land continues with the farmers, it is only that they are coming together as collectives or as cooperatives or as a society to achieve what's called a better efficiency at the input and output management stage. So I think India has got a great future in converting the fragmented lands into consolidated lands, and simultaneously to convert the farmers into entrepreneurs. And the focus, of course, has to be, as I said, on what is called building agricultural value chains. And that is feasible today because government has now rolled out what's called one commodity, one district. So based on the dominance of particular commodity or one or two commodities in a particular district, the government is now keen and has already rolled out the program of building value chains around that particular commodity. So now when we have an agriculture value chain of that nature, and then bring farmers around those kind of commodities, it is possible then for us to actually to scale up the number of producers organizations in our country. So I'm very happy that organizations like Samunnati, who have got vast experience in working with agricultural enterprises and entrepreneurs, and somebody like Economic Times, which is committed to understanding, appreciating, and advocating the different phases of economy, will actually be able to together bring greater awareness about the need for producers organization. And simultaneously, they're supported by somebody like Thornton, which has written very good guidelines, which has academically analyzed the status of producers organization. This has also taken up a large number of training programs. So I would say that these three very important people have come together, and they would be able to actually take forward this producers organization movement in the country. So it has to be not just a program, it has to become a movement, it has to become a campaign. So a campaign alone will be able to convert this program into a movement. And with support from NABARD, SFAC, the NCDC, National Cooperative Development Corporation, and also a very good organization like our NAFED, we will be able to achieve this thing. However, we will need the total support of the state governments. While Government of India will provide the financial support, the policy support, the environment, it is the state governments which will need to handhold and create an opportune environment for the farmers to come together and then create a federation at the national level so that that will enable further integration into the export market. So friends, thank you very much for giving me this privilege to share my thoughts at this particular session. And I'm aware that this particular virtual conference has got different subjects that have been chosen. It deals with capital infusion, technology infusion, and various other things. So very well thought out event, and I wish you all the best. And I also request all of you that we all need to get together to contain this notorious corona that is actually spreading across the country. And the farmers alone who have shown the resilience to actually negotiate the in the negative impact of corona last year. And I'm sure in the current year too, with good monsoons expected, the farmers again will be coming forward to save our economy. And it becomes our moral responsibility to support our farming community. Thank you very much.